Welcome to another Soccer Down Here 1v1. And for this one, we go to the USL and an opportunity to go to the USL Championship and check in on Brooklyn FC. There are stories where we get to luck into discussing perseverance and finding your voice and finding who you are as an athlete on the field of play. And one of those folks is midfielder Taimu Okiuyoshi, who is in Brooklyn this season in USL Championship. When you grow up, you feel out of place. You're trying to think of a way to connect differently. You take risks. You move halfway around the world. And then you go from there. You turn into an All-American. You have successes in college. And you're now a pro. So we introduce you now to Taimu Okiuyoshi of the Marshall Thundering Herd, now of Brooklyn FC, in this Soccer Down Here 1v1. Enjoy. So my first question for you is, what's it like being in an environment where you're starting every day, you seem to have found a home there in Brooklyn, and you're getting regular reps, and you're getting to show Brooklyn and everyone there in the USL the kind of player that you are? What's it like to be able to have that kind of an opportunity now?
I'm just grateful for this opportunity. So last year was my first year as a professional player. It didn't go as how I want it to be honest with you. I signed with a championship team last year, and I didn't get to play much. Then half through the season, I got loaned to a League One team, and there I got to play more. But it's nothing wrong with League One, but it's League One team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so before last season started, my expectation was pretty high. I thought I was gonna get a lot of playing time. I was gonna play good, all that kind of thing. But it didn't go like that. So it was very hard for me to sign with another championship team this year. Thanks free, Brian, GM, picked me up, and this was the only one offer I got from championship team this year. So that was the reason, because I couldn't be picky choosing teams, obviously. So that was and I wanted to stay in championship. So that was the reason I signed with the team. And my first year, I saw and I experienced so many things that, that's there, but I can't control, or I can't um, like fight over. Like, there's so many things that I can't control, but I stress so much. But as fuck, I can't control. And let's say it's like dark side of it, whether it's, I'm not gonna complain anyone, but like whether it's coach or the style or how they treat you, all that like dark side of it, and I had to deal with it. So starting this year, my expectation was, actually I set super low, like everything's not gonna be as how I want to. I might have bad coach, I might have bad teammate, I'm not gonna have playing time because I didn't prove anything last year, like all that. My expectation was like things are going to be wrong again, but I just wanted to put my 100% every day. I just wanted to prove what I can do, so I did everything I could in the preseason. And I think Marlon noticed how much I was putting my effort to everyday practice and also preseason games. And I was also satisfied of my performance, attitude, and hard work. But main thing was just to be grateful for what I have, like grateful for playing for a championship team again, grateful for even like having practice every day. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And how things going.
And for folks that may not know your journey to get to this,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is one of those journeys where you're like, man, this is someone who has gone through a lot. You grow up in Japan, and obviously there is there's a really structured system there.
Right.
And so then you go to Australia because you had family ties there.
Mm-hmm.
What was the how long did it take you to sit there and go, man, I got to get out of what's going on here. I've got to go find another home so I can be who I want to be as a footballer. When you were thinking about the move from Japan to Australia, how long were you thinking about that?
So I actually didn't move to Australia.
Mhm,
So my stepdad
mhm,
is from Australia.
mhm,
And when I was still young, like 5, 6, 7 years old, because I wasn't too busy playing soccer,
mhm,
we were able to go to Australia every um, December and January that season. So, and like 1 to 2 months. So
mhm.
I didn't move to Australia, but I went to Australia like 3 years in a row. Yeah, but so I don't know how much about how I felt when I landed there, but um so my stepdad took us to Australia for the first time. We obviously landed to the airport. I stepped outside of the airport, like I just felt like I'm being myself for some reason. Like it's I can't explain or describe well, but like that's how I felt, and that's something I never felt. But even that young age, I could tell the difference when I'm in Japan and when I was, Australia. And
It
I never forgot that feeling.
yeah.
And I was always curious because every time, after the trip, I obviously go back to Japan. And right after I landed there, my feelings just terrible. Like I couldn't feel like I'm being myself. But every time I step out of Japan, I felt like I was always better feeling. I always felt like I'm being myself. Whether it's not just Australia, whether it's when I went to Singapore, when I went to Philippines, when I went to China, when I went to South Korea, like any of these countries,
Mhm.
like I stepped out from Japan, I felt like much better feeling.
And being, I guess, more comfortable in yourself
Right.
and who you are, you can sense that idea of freedom. You're more
Mm-hmm.
freedom to express yourself on the field, freedom to express yourself, in the community with your family, all those kinds of things.
Right.
So then, why did you want to sit there and go? You know what? Nah, I think it's time for me to go to the United States to go and learn to take that next step. Why was it the U.S. that was in your mind as like that next stage of you experiencing the kind of freedom that you had experienced in all these other countries when you were growing up? But then you're like, yeah, I want to go to the United States to pursue college soccer, pro soccer. What was the thought pattern there?
So it actually wasn't the US at first. I wanted to go to Australia
Okay.
after I graduated from high school in Japan.
Hmm.
So I started looking to, all systems there, and they don't have the system where it's like going to school and play for that club. You have to, if you want to go to school, you only go to school and then you play as a like amateur or something like that.
Hmm.
It's not like the system we have here in the US or, in Japan. So I couldn't do it. And my friend who came to the US to continue playing soccer but also to go to college, I asked him and he said it's great, and he introduced me the agent he had. So I texted that agent, and then he kind of started talking about all the systems, what's what, all that, and I got more interested. So it was more the system that Australia didn't have, but the US had.
Hmm. What was junior college like for you in the United States?
Um, if if I could be super honest with you,
Yeah.
I wish I could skip JUCO
Yeah.
and go to like like Marshall or like good D1 school
Yeah.
straight away from Japan. But back in the days, especially like me who didn't speak any English, it was so hard to go to D1 right after from Japan, right after um came from Japan. So I had to go through JUCO. But thankfully, my first year we won the national championship, and my second year, we I think we placed third in the nation. So both seasons not bad at all, and ended up going to transferring to Marshall. So I think the level, environment, quality of the players, it's definitely not good enough. It wasn't good enough for me because I remember like it was the first day of the preseason practice.
Hmm.
Right after that, I texted my agent. I want to transfer to D1 because I didn't like the level. I was expecting much more, but it wasn't there. And I didn't think like I remember I just didn't want to say play that level and I didn't want to stay, you know, that level.
And you go from Salt Lake
Right.
Community College, and then you go to Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
How much of a culture shock was it? How much of a different experience was it for you to go from Japan to Salt Lake, and then from Salt Lake to Huntington, West Virginia, where Marshall is a different animal. I mean, it is, and I imagine that you got to learn about a lot of things at Marshall and what
Yep.
what what when you're a part of the Thundering Herd family. I mean, you learn about the 75, you learn about the football team, you learn about soccer, you learn about the Fun Belt, you learn about
Mm-hmm.
everything that's there. How much of a culture shock was it for you when you parachuted in to go to Marshall for your junior and senior years?
I don't really remember if I had culture shock or anything. I just didn't know what Marshall was, to be honest.
Hmm.
But I knew my second year at Salt Lake Community College. I obviously started looking into D1 school because I had no clue like what school's good or fits me. So I started watching all the games that was on YouTube, and I watched some Marshall games, and I was so interested in them. The way they play style, um, they attracted me a lot. And I didn't even think I was gonna get offer from them, but then I did, and I thought their offer was the most attractive and the best out of whatever I got from other school. So it was pretty easy for me to decide to go to Marshall, and I didn't think about any other things like life there or Huntington, West Virginia, or I just wanted to play the best level in college.
What did you learn about yourself, not just as a footballer, but as a person as you grew there and you became part of the Marshall community? And I imagine they embraced you as they embrace everyone else that's there. And not just, the fans of the soccer team and stuff, but the Marshall community, big M, big C, they really do embrace those that embody what Marshall wants when it comes to.
I'm actually surprised like how much you know about it. Like not many people know about this thing,
Mhm.
but the community there is different level. Like people around there, people living in West Virginia and fan of Marshall, whether it's soccer or football, whatever, fan of the school,
Mhm.
their support level, their love to the school, their care to the school, not just to school. So all the players, athlete, it's something I've never felt, and I wasn't expecting that because obviously, like college in Japan, no one cares, no one support, no fans in the game. But here in the US, different, right? And if you go to bigger school, obviously bigger amount of fans, crowd you get in the stadium.
Mhm.
Marshall's not as big compared to other big school, but how much they actually care and how much they not just to say but show how much they support and care is different level. And I felt that a lot. And then more you feel that support and love from them, more you want to do something, not just for yourself but for the program, for the school, for the club. And this was something I never felt, but I really love, like love playing for them, and do something good for them because they deserve.
When you experience that kind of love, that kind of support, it stays with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I can sense that it has stayed with you as well, just having seen you for as long as we've been talking here. But to have that love and admiration and respect for others, you take that and you start to apply that when you're trying to turn into a pro and try to find a home to have that next stage in your life. You talked about Westchester, you talked about Rhode Island,
Right. Uh-huh.
but to have, and now that you have that in Brooklyn, did that time at Marshall and that love and understanding and support, was that there in the back of your mind to help you persevere through all of these bad times and trying to figure out?
It for sure did, because like I say, I built like great connection with the people there.
Mhm.
I still talk to these kids because these kids have my Instagram. I still talk to their parents because I have contact of them. And like we got just so close. So like every time I was going through like bad situation, whatever, I either I text them or they just randomly text, and I feel much better. I'm going through bad situation,
Mhm.
but they know me, they love me. I've got their support on my back. And knowing that, it actually helps a lot when you're going through, these situations. So they definitely helped me. And then, you know, when I was living Huntington, West Virginia, my neighbor, we got so my wife and I got so close to our neighbor. He lived in upstairs of our apartment. He actually passed away last year. He had cancer.
Mm.
Um, we built we had so many good memories together. We went dinner, we did all the things. We kept talking, obviously, and he was someone that I could look up to and then like admire. So every time I was going through my moments, he always texted me, "Just keep going. Things, will come. Good things will come as long as you keep doing your thing. Never give up. All that." So his words really helped me when I was going through these things. And and right before he passed away, we were able to go see him. Um, and even he could barely talk, he was still the guy who I admired and who I wanted to look up to. And his last words were always same as what he used to say, and that really helped me to go through all the bad moments.
Do you think of yourself as a role model for others when it comes to perseverance and finding your place with everything that you've gone through? I mean, you know, change of system, change of ideals, going to the United States to take a leap of faith in yourself, having, one situation turn into another there at Marshall, then you turn into a pro, and now you found a home there at Brooklyn. Do you think of yourself as a role model of perseverance in any way?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's just who I am, and how to the way of, I don't know, finding my place.
Hmm.
Yeah, I really would love to be a role model for someone,
Hmm.
but I don't think I am.
I would think that you are, considering everything that you've been through.
I will
All the
appreciate if someone can look up to me,
Mhm.
knowing that what I, had to go through, what I went through, but still, fighting for, my goals, or try to achieve my goals and who I am now and what I'm doing now. But yeah, I hope.
Well, I would think that you are, considering just the perseverance that's attached to it. And
Right.
uh, I want to. I was while you and I were talking, I went and dug something up here real quick. We, the students, faculty, and staff of Marshall University, pledge to pursue the development of our intellects and the expansion of knowledge, and to devote ourselves to defending individual rights and exercising civic responsibility. We strive to exemplify in our own lives the core values of independence, initiative, achievement, ethical integrity, and commitment to community through association and service. If you look at your story, core values: independence, which you've got; initiative, which you took; achievement, which you're making now as a professional; ethical integrity, which you have as a professional athlete there in Brooklyn; and commitment to community through association and service. I would think that with your time at Marshall, that has rubbed off on you now that you're in Brooklyn, starting the matches that are there in a season under Marlon Leblanc. I would say that you are someone that has influenced others and is that role model through what you got to experience by you're living the Marshall creed. I didn't mean for this necessarily to turn into an advertisement for Marshall, but if you go back to the time there, it has made this impact on you, and you seem to be living the creed every day.
Yep. Definitely.
So I would think to say that you are a role model.
Well, thank you for saying that.
I mean, it's
That's
just
very nice of you.
well, all right. So then, before we wrap this up, and I know that you have like games and things to prepare for. I know that first year clubs and things like that, everybody's still trying to get adjusted to what Marlon LeBlanc wants to do and all this kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Where do you think Brooklyn FC is right now as a club here in USL Championship at this point of the season?
Um, if you just look at the stats, or like where we are in the league now, it obviously doesn't look good. But we're very positive. Every day we put into practices are very, very good. Things are definitely getting together. We just can't, be negative, or like, you know, just be in bad mood, because still early in the season. Things could go any way. We just gotta heads up, keep walking, do what we gotta do, and keep grinding. And I'm pretty sure things will come to our way. And yeah, so I'm excited for what's coming, and what the future holds.
Well, Taimu, I can't thank you enough for coming in and sharing your story.
Well, thank you so much.
It's a great advertisement for perseverance and heart and fortitude and all those things. Thanks for dropping by for a soccer down here 1v1. We'll catch up with you, and we'll keep an eye on you
It
up the.
was great talking to you. It wasn't enough time, but it was great talking to you.